exposing the firepower in Burkina Faso? Or are you ready to witness a billion-dollar battle against terror? In 2023, Burkina Faso didn't just make headlines. They wrote a whole chapter in the book of military upgrades. Spending a whopping $1 billion, or 30% of their national budget, they're not just changing guards, they're changing the game. This isn't about flexing military muscle for show. This is a strategic move by Burkina Faso to beef up their forces against a growing terrorist threat.
Welcome to Talk of Africa 360, your source for insightful news, analysis, and thoughtful commentary. If you value informed perspectives and fact-based reporting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is based on reliable public sources and credible online information. It is intended strictly for educational and analytical purposes. We do not promote or endorse political violence, hate speech, or any form of discrimination. Our goal is to inform, not to inflame. Thanks for being here. Let's stay informed together.
Something happened in Burkina Faso that could quietly be reshaping international politics. It wasn't just another delivery of military supplies, it was a seismic shift in symbolism, strategy, and sovereignty. A large convoy made its way through Ouagadougou, the heart of the nation, loaded not just with gear but with a message. This shipment wasn't ordinary, it brought motorcycles, armored vehicles, surveillance drones, transport buses, and sophisticated communication tech equipment handed directly to the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, known locally as the VDP. But the real story wasn't the hardware, it was what it represented. Burkina Faso has long been painted as unstable and dependent. But that narrative cracked as the convoy roared down dusty streets, turning heads and sparking whispers. This wasn't just a tactical boost, it was a bold declaration. We're rewriting the rules. To most, it may have seemed like another military delivery. But to those watching closely, the scale, the timing, and the secrecy pointed to something deeper. This was more than defense logistics, it was a strategic reset. The armored vehicles are built for real combat, resilient against roadside bombs and ambushes. They don't just protect, they empower. Each journey they make marks a step forward, away from chaos and toward control. The drones, they're revolutionizing the battlefield. These airborne sentinels provide eyes in the sky, delivering real-time intel that once had to be guessed in the dark. With this tech in VDP hands, the battlefield is shifting fast. Then there's communication, a quiet but critical upgrade. In modern warfare, coordination is power. These systems knit together squads across vast terrain, linking commanders and fighters with instant updates. In tense situations, that speed can mean the difference between survival and victory. The VDP, once seen as community militias, are evolving into something far greater, a symbol of national determination, standing tall in the face of adversity and the handover event itself. It wasn't just official ceremony, it was a moment of reckoning. Burkina Faso is no longer sitting idle while chaos unfolds. It's now taking the initiative, seizing control of its own fate. Even as skepticism lingers internationally, one thing is hard to deny: Burkina Faso is no longer leaning on foreign aid. It's accelerating, pushing forward with resolve, leaving outdated labels behind. This gear doesn't just shield troops, it fuels morale. When fighters feel equipped and supported, they begin to strategize, not just survive. For years, insurgents had the upper hand, using surprise and disorder to strike. But the tide is turning. Burkina Faso's military no longer appears outmatched. They're mobilizing smart, moving boldly, and making it clear: retreat is not an option. The drone tech alone changes everything. What might look like simple flying devices are actually precision tools that scan vast areas, detect heat signatures, and stream actionable data back to base. Picture this: a drone soars over a wooded region, spots hidden movement, and within minutes ground forces are adjusting and responding. This isn't just defense, it's dominance. And the glue holding it all together: communication. The ability to talk, coordinate, and adapt in real time is proving more valuable than firepower alone. Imagine troops navigating a volatile village. Suddenly, an update alerts them to hostile movement nearby. Instead of walking into a trap, they regroup, reposition, and neutralize the threat. That kind of coordination reshapes the fight. For years, Burkina Faso's forces operated with outdated tools. Often isolated and overwhelmed, insurgents took advantage. But this new chapter, this influx of tech and tactical structure is a shift. It tells soldiers, you matter, and it tells citizens, we're protecting you for real. Yet behind the optimism, important questions loom. Why now? What triggered this rapid transformation? And perhaps the biggest question, who's supporting it? These upgrades didn't appear from nowhere. They came during a time of rising violence, where entire towns have been devastated, schools abandoned, and marketplaces silenced. Displacement is widespread, and the government is under immense pressure to act. This isn't just policy, it's survival. The leadership in Ouagadougou isn't simply reacting anymore. It's trying to reclaim the future, reclaim dignity and stability for its people. This isn't just about weapons, it's about hope. For the thousands displaced, for the children who stopped going to school, for the families who fear every nightfall, this moment isn't symbolic. It's deeply personal. What's happening now is more than military. It's a response to years of imposed dependency. And leading that response is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a young leader refusing to play the old game. His stance is clear: Burkina Faso won't be treated as a passive player on the global chessboard. No more foreign dictates, no more waiting for permission. This is a new chapter and it's being written from within. Traoré's vision is about self-reliance, equipping the country with the means to defend itself and define its future without waiting for approval from distant powers. For decades, Western support often came with strings: economic conditions, political compromises, and agendas that didn't always reflect the people's needs. Traoré is cutting those strings, and while this change is inspiring, it's also risky. Because behind this independence surge are new backers, namely Russia and China. Russia has been active across the continent, rekindling old alliances and challenging Western influence. Reports suggest Russian advisors and possibly private security groups have been spotted in Burkina Faso, raising eyebrows. If true, it means this isn't charity, it's geopolitical chess. Meanwhile, China is playing a quieter but no less strategic game. The advanced communications equipment now in Burkina Faso bears hallmarks of Chinese engineering. While Russia provides the muscle, China lays the infrastructure. So what does this mean? Two global giants are vying for influence not by conquest, but by investment, partnerships, and technology. For Burkina Faso, this could be an opportunity or a trap. The challenge is ensuring this pivot to new allies doesn't repeat the mistakes of the past. Because true independence isn't just saying no to old powers, it's about ensuring no one else dictates your path, no matter how friendly they appear. And this is where Burkina Faso stands at the crossroads. It's not just rewriting its defense policy. It's positioning itself in a larger movement across Africa. More nations are now questioning Western-dominated structures. They're forming new alliances based on shared goals, not inherited obligations. But with every shift in loyalty comes complexity. So the question remains, is this truly the start of a sovereign military renaissance in Africa? Or simply a change in who's calling the shots? The equipment is real. The strategy is unfolding, but the outcome, whether peace takes hold, whether sovereignty is truly achieved, will depend on what comes next. Captain Traoré has shown resilience. He's no puppet. He's made it clear that Burkina Faso won't be dictated to by anyone. Picture a soldier from yesterday, poorly armed, under threat, cut off from support. Now imagine that same soldier today moving in an armored vehicle, guided by aerial surveillance, in constant contact with command. That's not a small improvement, that's a transformation. And for people on the ground, this military upgrade means more than just hardware. It means the possibility of coming home, reopening markets, sending children back to school. It means hope. Nationally, this is Burkina Faso's loudest message yet. We are taking our destiny into our own hands. It's a major step toward the type of autonomy Traoré envisions, one where African nations lead with confidence, equipped and empowered, standing shoulder to shoulder on the global stage. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the beginning of something far bigger. Imagine a soldier from last year, barely armed, cut off from help, fighting alone. Now picture that same soldier today. In an armoured vehicle, guided by drone intel. In contact with command, no longer surviving, but winning. To the families who fled, to the children missing school. To the communities living in fear. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a reason to hope. Burkina Faso has drawn a line. It's reclaiming its voice, its power, its future. This may be just one delivery, but it could mark the start of something far bigger. A movement, a transformation, a rebirth. Africa is watching. The world is watching, and history is taking notes.
As reactions continue to pour in from across the continent, one thing is clear. Africa is demanding respect, sovereignty, and accountability. Was this just a diplomatic misstep or a deeper sign of shifting global alliances? We'll be watching closely. If you found this story important, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, unfiltered African news. This is Talk of Africa 360, telling the stories that matter.